Victor Kandria University's grounds were dead quiet. It was after 11 p.m. Some of the labs worked all night and into the morning, so the place wasn't completely abandoned. But compared to daytime, it was quiet. Oh man, I'm excited. The lights in the halls were off, and it was a little scary walking down them alone. Maho lived in the researcher's apartments, next to the lab. She'd been thinking about so many things that night, her head felt like it was going to explode. Then she looked out the window and realized that the lights were still on in the brain science lab. Dr. Leskinen must have been working late. She decided to put some coffee in a thermos and take it to him.
そもそも、なんで私はタイムマシンの研究なんかに没頭しているのかしら。
Oh? Ever since she'd come back from Japan in January, she'd spent all her free time on it. Even she had to admit she was getting obsessed. Of course, since this wasn't something she could research in public, and since she couldn't let it interfere with her real job, she had to do all of it in her own room at night. As a result, she was staying up late, battling with physics textbooks, an unfamiliar subject to her. Exhaustion and lack of sleep were starting to get to her. I bet. Physics in a basic level is already hard enough for me to, try to comprehend. Trying to, apply physics into the context of making a time machine, that's gotta be a headache to just anyone with, just a normal mind that doesn't look into physics. Well, okay, maybe I should not word it like that, but what I meant by it is someone who's unfamiliar with physics, that's gotta be a lot to process. That's what I meant to say, yeah. If someone's unfamiliar with physics, I can definitely see why, you can get exhausted as you're trying to get into physics, especially if you're trying to apply physics to a theory. God, I feel for Maho. The whole idea of a time machine was stupid. She still thought so, but she was surprised at how desperate she was getting.
それもこれも岡部さんのせいよ。
What Okabe had said to her in Japan still stuck with her.
半ば論文にはクリスが関わっていた可能性がある。
Rintaro could have been lying, or wrong, or simply delusional. But part of her wanted to believe it was real. Of course, from what she'd seen of Dr. Nakabachi's paper, she didn't want to believe Kursu was involved. It was just that bad. I really want to read this paper. But
論文は劣化版で、もしもクリス自身が書いたオリジナルが存在するとしたら。
If she could have read it off as a slim possibility, everything would have been so much easier. But it was just like her, she thought, to be unable to do that. I want to find what Kursu found. That desire was what drove her to action. But the more research she did, the harder it seemed. It was so hard, she was starting to lose faith in what she wanted to believe. Her usual complex started weighing down on her.
クリス、私、やっぱりあなたにはなれない。
Kursu was her dear friend, but at the same time, she was starting to feel jealous, frustrated, and hateful. And when all those feelings started going around in her mind, there was no way she could focus on work. It was time to chat with Dr. Leskinen for a little, and then go to sleep. A nice thing to do before a good night's rest. Have a chat with Alexis Leskinen. She headed over to the lab.
授？
ん？いや、マホ。
Dr. Leskinen seemed surprised at her sudden visit, but he stood up from his chair and welcomed her.
どうしたんだい？こんな夜中に。子供はもう寝る時間だよ。
その言葉、そっくりそのままお返しします。
違いない。
Dr. Leskinen laughed innocently, like a child, at her cutting remark.
私の部屋から明かりが見えたものですから。これ、どうぞ。
The cup on Dr. Leskinen's desk was empty. She poured him some coffee from the thermos. It wasn't the sticky sweet cafe late? Oh no. Oh no, I feel like I've already tried pronouncing this before, but I forgot how to. Café I'm gonna look it up. I'm so sorry.
Café au lait.
Café au lait.
Café au lait.
Café au lait. Is that correct?
Café au lait.
Café au lait.
Café au lait.
Café au lait. Okay. I'm gonna go with this pronunciation, but please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below. I'm so sorry. I definitely should look into a French linguistics class. Or just a regular French language class. There's some online classes I could probably take to, just get better at pronunciation. I might look into those in the future. I'm sorry. It wasn't the sticky sweet cafe au lait that she liked. She made it straight black to match the professor's taste. The room was filled with steam and a pleasant smell.
これは驚いた。マホがカフェをご馳走してくれるとは。
私だってこのくらいの気は利きますよ。
でも君はこういうのが嫌いだっただろ？あれは確か君がこの研究所に来た最初の日だったかな。メアリーがみんなにモーニングカフェを配って回っていたら、君はそれを断ってこう言ったじゃないか。あなたはカフェを入れるためにここに勤務しているのですか？その時間があったら早く仕事を始めてはどうですとね。
Damn, Maho! Get her.
いや、すごい子が来たものだと驚かされたよ。
そんな古い話、今さら持ち出さなくてもいいじゃないですか。
Maho's cheeks swelled in embarrassment.
あの頃は天才少女とか言われてちょっといい気になってたというか、何もわからない子供だったんです。
That happens to most people who get college geniuses. Can't say I can't relate to that one.
ちゃんと反省はしています。
Mary was another scientist at the lab. After Maho had apologized, they'd gone on to be friends.
本当に教授は意地悪ですね。もう二度とコーヒーなんて持ってきませんから、そのつもりで。
Just as she was thinking of taking the coffee she'd poured back.
そうですよ、教授。あんまり先輩をいじめないであげてください。
Oh, he's talking to Amadeus. She heard a voice from Dr. Leskinen's computer.
あら、クリス。
はい、私です。
ちょうど彼女のプログラムの検証中だったんだ。
She moved around to where she could see the monitor, and sure enough, the Cursu CG model was displayed on it.
こんばんは、先輩。
こんな時間までご苦労様。
Maho chuckled to herself. Cursu was just a program running on a computer. but she still couldn't stop herself from saying things like that. Yeah, be respectful to the computer AI, be respectful to them. After all the time they spent together, Kursu was no different than a human to her.
別に私は魔法をいじめてるわけじゃないよ。メアレイとの件だって私は魔法を好ましく思ったものさ。極めて合理的でクールで、しかも面白い子だとね。だから私の助手になってもらったわけだし。もちろん今の優しい君も嫌いじゃないけどね。
Dr. Leskinen gave her a wink as he reached for his coffee cup.
ありがとう。いただくよ。
As he drank his coffee, he grabbed the corner of his eyelids and gave them a little message. He was acting cheerful, but evidently he was really tired.
プログラムの検証って何をしていたんです？
ああ、今まとめている論文のあれだよ。
アマデウスが嘘をつくメカニズムですか？
その部分のプログラムが解析できると、人間が嘘をつく仕組みももっと詳しくわかるんだがね。
女性の嘘は時に重大な秘密を含んでいます。それを暴こうというのは感心しません。
Kursu's expression was deadly serious.
何も君の嘘を暴こうって言うんじゃない。嘘をつく時の思考の過程を知りたいだけだよ。
まあいいです。何か暴露する羽目になったら、まず真帆先輩が隠してる甘い秘密を喋ることにしますから。
Uh-oh.
ちょっとおかしなことを言わないでちょうだい。っていうか、甘い秘密って何？
なんでしょうね。
She played dumb. Sometimes Kursu liked to joke around. It was infuriating, and at the same time, kind of cute.
例えばゲームセンターで彼に取ってもらったぬいぐるみの件、私が気づいていないとでも？
Uh-oh!
は？
The first thing she thought of when she heard the word arcade was what happened back in Akihabara, Japan. She tried so many times to get the stuffed animal, and failed each time. Rintaro had won it easily, and given it to her.
あれが何？
ずっと先輩のベッドに置いてあるんですよね。
I bet Leskinen is happy to hear this.
何をバカなことを言っているの？あれはクリスのお母さんへのお土産よ。
じゃあなんで先輩の部屋に？
Oh my god! Did Kursu's mom not accept it, or did she lie to Okabe? Maho!
だってお母さんは新しい家をまだ探してるって言うし、それまでは仮のアパートメント住まいだし、引っ越しの時の荷物になったらあれかなと思って。
She's dodging the question. She's dodging saying the truth. Oh my god.
本当ですか？
ほんとよ。だいたいあのぬいぐるみは私にとってもクリスの大事な思い出なんですもの。抱いて寝るのがそんなにおかしい？
やっぱり先輩のベッドにあるんですね、あれ。
She got him to admit it.
しかも抱いて寝てるなんてとってもキュート。そのあたりもっと詳しく教えてください。
That stupid computer program had tricked her. By the time she realized, it was already too late. Both Kursu and Dr. Leskinen, who'd been listening the whole time, were smiling at her. Poor Maho. At the same time, good on you, Kursu, for tricking her. She glared at them. Her cheeks flushed.
これはどうやらクリスの勝ちのようだね。
勝ち負けとか関係ありません。もう私は寝ます。おやすみなさい。
She turned to leave Dr. Leskinen's office, fuming. But before she could leave, Kursu got in one final parting shot.
先輩、もう1週間も岡部と連絡取ってませんよ。忙しいからといって連絡をおろそかにしていると後で後悔しちゃいますからね。
あのね、どうしてもあなたは私と岡部さんをくっつけたいの？
Maho stormed over to the monitor, but Kursu seemed unconcerned.
たまには直接会ってみたいなって思ったりしませんか？
思いません。
そうか、残念だな。
For some reason, Dr. Leskinen shook his head sadly.
近々また共同研究で日本に呼ばれているんだ。その時、レンタロウに連絡を取ってみようと思っているんだ。魔法も一緒に連れて行こうかどうか悩んでいたんだが、これはやめた方が良さそうだね。
She had heard nothing about this. Most of the time, whenever the professor had a project coming up, she'd hear about it through the school's network ahead of time.
日本へまた行くんですか？
うん。
She had to stop herself from immediately saying that she wanted to go too. If she did, Dr. Leskinen and Kursu would make fun of her again. But she didn't want to miss the chance. She didn't want to miss this chance, I'm sorry. But she didn't want to miss this chance. There was still a lot she needed to do in Japan. More than anything, she wanted to talk with Rentaro in person about the time machine and about Kursu. It definitely was not because she just liked talking to him. Thanks for the clarification.
ぜひ私も連れて行ってください。
In the end, she gave in.
おお、ついに素直になったんだね。
では告白プランを考えましょう。
あなたたちね。
Poor Maho. Maho was starting to get tired of dealing with them.
ま、冗談はさておき。君を連れて行けるかどうかは微妙なところなんだ。
というと？
君は日本でいろいろな事件に巻き込まれたろう。脳科学研究所としてはそのことをかなり気にしていてね。
そんな。
クリスの件もあったし、優秀な人材をこれ以上危険な目に遭わせるわけにいけないというのが理事たちの考えなんだよ。
私なら大丈夫です。現にこうして無事でいるじゃないですか。
ほう。つまり魔法はそこまでして日本にいるレンタロウに会いたいと。
いい加減セクハラになりますよ。
おお、それは勘弁してくれ。
So that's where that came from. Kyugo can be playing this card. I'm sorry. So that's where that line came from. Oh, sorry.
でも本気で交際を検討してみては。将来的には岡部もこっちに来る可能性があるんでしょ。だったら 今のうちに唾をつけておくべきですって。
おせっかいな親戚のおばさんみたいなことを言うのはやめなさい。
魔法の考えは理解したよ。私からも理事に話をしてみよう。ただし、だからといって日本に行けるという保証はできないからね。
はい、ありがとうございます。
私は結構本気なんですけどね。
まだ言っているの？まったく。
It really felt like she was talking to Kursu. The feeling was much stronger than when they first started on Amadeus. And that reminded her of something she'd almost done many times, but stopped.
このクリスにタイムマシンのことを相談してみたらどうだろう。
She didn't know if Kursu had completed the time machine theory before her death. But if she had, some clues to it might be hidden in Kursu's memories. Of course, she couldn't ask her in front of Dr. Leskinen, and she couldn't let others hear that she was making a time machine. If the rest of the lab found out, they'd make fun of her for sure. It wasn't even her field of research to begin with.
それじゃあ教授、そろそろ部屋に戻って寝ます。
Maho took her thermos and was about to leave the lab.
あ、ちょっと待った。最近、魔法の記憶データを全く更新していないだろ
Oh yeah, there was also a Maho Amadeus as well.
Amadeus の魔法のことだよ。
ああ、
日本に行く前に採取したデータが最後じゃないか？
それはですね。
Maho didn't know what to say. He was right.
日本ではいろいろと怖い体験をしましたし、アマデウスに悪い記憶を残すこともないかなと。
Why not? Why not? That would actually be very interesting to research.
気持ちはわかるが、このままだと比較実験ができない。
A comparison trial involved loading memories from both before and after a given experience into Amadeus, and seeing how it changed. These trials allowed them to see what effects experiences and knowledge had on the brain. But after Kursu's passing, they became solely Maho's responsibility.
今の君とアマデウスの魔法とではあまりにも記憶が食い違いすぎていて、別人と言ってもいいほどになってしまっている。
はい、そうですね。
このままだと君はこのプロジェクトから外して他の誰かに頼まなくてはならないかもしれないよ。
それは。
Her expression darkened.
クリスばかり相手にしていないで、たまには自分も構ってあげなさい。きっと寂しがっている。明日必ず記憶の更新をしておくように。いいね？
わかりました。
Maho nodded her head and left the room. The reason she'd given to Dr. Leskinen for not updating Maho's memories was a real concern. But there was also another one. Because she's looking into time travel, that would come into Maho's memories, her research into time travel. Rintaro's words. Oh, that's actually... Okay, that might actually, be a little bit more dangerous to be in Amadeus than anything else, yeah.
なあ、アマデウスの研究には米軍が関与していたりはしないよな。
She had no proof, but she couldn't get his words out of her mind. Was some great power involved in the Amadeus research? Something so powerful it was outside even Dr. Leskinen's control? If she updated her memory data, Maho would learn about Kursu's laptop and hard disk. She trusted Amadeus, but that would mean whoever was secretly trying to use the project for their own needs would find out. It seemed silly, almost delusional, to be worried about something like that, but she couldn't get it out of her mind ever since she'd come back to America.
でもやっぱり考えすぎよね。
She whispered to herself.
誰かそこにいるの？
She heard a woman's voice from down the dark hallway. Maho stopped dead in her tracks. The hallway lights flipped on, and she saw a group of men and women coming down the corridor that connected her building to the next one. The next building over was the psychophysiology lab. Maho's brain science lab mostly investigated the workings of the brain itself. The psychophysiology lab, on the other hand, was more of a medical department. They looked at how the workings of the brain affected mental states and mental illnesses.
すみません、冷や城真帆です。レスキネン教授の研究室の。
The woman at the head of the group was someone she knew. It was Dr. Reyes, a scientist at the psychophysiology lab.
あら、真帆だったの。
レイエス教授、こんな時間にお仕事ですか？
あなたも？
ええ、まあ。
お互いに仕事中毒だわね。
Judy raised his eyes, narrowed beneath her glasses as she laughed.
アレクシスは？まだ自分のオフィスよね。
はい、アマデウスの研究を。
ほんとご執心ね。自分の娘と勘違いしてるんじゃないかしら。
You know, honestly, he might. I have no proof of this, but for some reason I have a feeling that, he might think of the Amadeuses as his own daughters for some reason.
こんな時間にレスキネン教授にお会いになるんですか？もし緊急でのミーティングなら私も。
その必要はないわ。私の研究に少し問題があってね。至急彼の知恵を借りたいのよ。あなたがいても特に頼めることはないでしょうし。あ、気を悪くしないでね。でも、ありがとう。
Dr. Reyes kept smiling as she walked past Maho toward the lab. The other scientists followed her.
研究に問題って一体何だろう？
She took a closer look and saw that she didn't recognize one of the people in the group. It was hard to say why, exactly, she noticed him. He just didn't look like a scientist. When you spend enough time doing research, you start to get a feel for people who are in the same line of work. But he had a totally different air about him, and what was worse, he was behaving extremely rudely towards Dr. Reyes. If he was one of her staff, he wouldn't act like that. And while everyone else was wearing white lab coats, he was wearing a freshly pressed suit. Probably a politician. Probably a politician. They're a jerk wearing a suit. They're probably a politician. I shouldn't say that. It just didn't feel right. She was about to head back to her room when... It bothered her enough that she turned right back around and silently crept back to Dr. Leskinen's lab. The door was slightly ajar. She could hear voices inside. She knew it was wrong, but she decided to push her face up against the door to listen.
いつまで泳がせておくつもり？
貴重な情報源だ。下手に動いて破棄でもされたらもったいないだろう。いずれにせよ、今月中に日本に立つ。そこで回収するつもりさ。
なぜ半年近くも様子を見たのか、納得のいく説明ができるのかしら。
彼らは我々が知っていること以上の何かを隠しているような気がしてね。そこでアマデウスを使って聞き出そうとしたんだが、かなり警戒心が強い慎重な青年だよ、リンターロ・オカベは。
Here we go. Here we go.
マホにお得意の施術でもしてあげたら？
彼女は何も知らないと思うがね。
Maho started to panic when she heard her name. And then, she realized she'd made a big... No! Maho, no! Oh, no! And from what I remember of the anime, the special treatment's not going to be that good. Oh, no! And then, she realized she'd made a big mistake. No, Maho! She was so focused on listening to the conversation that she'd pressed her shoulder into the door. The door to the lab wasn't very well built. There was a loud creak, and everyone in the lab turned around.
誰？
She knew she should probably run, but her body refused to move. She couldn't understand what she was hearing, and even after they found her, she still couldn't move. She couldn't believe it. She didn't want to believe it. This was worse than being in a thriller, she thought. The other scientists who were with Dr. Reyes grabbed her arms tightly and dragged her into the room.
教授、今の話は一体。
Dr. Leskinen looked a little sad as he walked over to her. His huge body leaned forward and peered into her face.
やれやれ、聞いてしまったんだね。
I don't think Leskinen wanted her to know. I don't think... Oh! Okay, this is interesting. This is interesting. I think Leskinen did not want Maho involved with, the secret project that Amadeus was currently being involved with. That's the feeling I'm getting right now. I don't think he wanted Maho to be involved because he drug his feet on, you know, getting information out of Maho. He drug his feet on that, and oh no. So I think Leskinen did not want Maho to be involved. Ah.
まあ、ちょうどいい。魔法、さっきの日本行きの話だけどね、やはり君にも一緒に来てもらおう。
She didn't know what he meant. Weren't the directors opposed to it? Was it something Dr. Leskinen could decide on his own? He didn't want her to come because he was... I think I can understand what's going on here now. Oh my god, I'm just using my knowledge from the Steins Gate Zero anime, but I understand what's going on here. He didn't want Maho to come because he was beginning to start his aggressiveness towards Okabe in regards to Kurisu and her involvement with the time machine. This second trip, I think that's when he was planning on getting aggressive with Okabe, and he did not want to bring Maho along because he's going to pry more into Okabe this time around instead of, you know, trying to shove him towards, you know, telling them information. This time, I think he's planning on going on the offensive, right? Well, he was already on the offensive. What I meant by was he was going to be doing a more aggressive offensive to get Okabe to spill out some details. But he didn't want Maho to come because he did not want her involved with this. Oh, man. You know, this does sound like I'm going to be excusing what Leskinen's been doing, for which that's not my intention. I'm not trying to excuse him, but I'm just finding it interesting that, he's being so, you know, hesitant to let Maho be involved, or he just doesn't want her involved in general. Like, he really likes Maho, and he does not want her involved with the conspiracies that he's currently in. Yeah, that's what I'm getting from this. Although Leskinen, yes, he is a bad guy. At the same time, he does have people that he really likes and respects that he does not want them to be drugged down with him into the stuff that he's in. Even though he's one of the people that are making things worse, at the same time, he has the decency not to get everyone he knows involved and at least try to, let someone get away. Which he was trying to let Maho get away. But as soon as they discovered that she was eavesdropping, yeah, this does not excuse Leskinen for what he is doing and what he will do. But at the same time, I do slightly feel bad now because it's definitely showing here that he did not want Maho to, get wrapped up in everything. What was good timing? Confused, she glanced over at the computer screen. But Kursu was no longer there. The one thing she knew was she was in danger. Oh. Okabe's words weren't the delusions of a conspiracy theorist after all. No! No! Oh no! Oh no! What's gonna happen to Maho? What just happened to Maho? Oh no! Poor Maho! And we're back to Okabe. It was almost July. The rainy season hadn't been that bad this year, and what little remained of it had already disappeared. Temperature-wise, summer had come a long time ago.
夏か。
In other words, it had been almost a year since it happened. And then, one Saturday afternoon... Oh, it's June 25th! Wow, we really did do a time skip. If I stayed home, not only would it be hot, but Dad would be on my case about helping with the family business to get away. I'd come to the area around Ikebukuro Station. A year ago, I could have gone to the lab, but with Suzuha living there now, I'd mostly stopped going. But that meant that it was hard to find a place to study on my days off. It was too much trouble to go to the university, and the classrooms probably weren't open on weekends anyway. After a lot of research, I'd settled on spending my free days visiting this cafe near my parents' home and spending a few hours there. In fact, a lot of the other patrons did the same thing I did, buying a single cup of coffee and sitting there for hours on end. Some brought books, some brought computers. I chuckled to myself as I realized that I joined the ranks of the other normies. Oh! Hey, Amadeus! Oh, no, that was Ryan. Okay, that was Mayuri. Oops, I thought that was Amadeus. No, that was Ryan with Mayuri. I'm sorry. Toot-toot! Where are you right now? Where are you now? Oh, great drinking coffee emoji. Oh! The usual cafe, right? I just went to your place, and you weren't home. You did? Did my dad make a nuisance of himself again? It's okay. He gave me some barley tea. I have to go shopping. Will you come with me? Okay! Thank you. Okay, I'll leave now. Wait for me. So they went to my house? My family's business was called Okabe Green Grocer. It was a beat-up old store located in a run-down shopping street. The place was almost 40 years old. I really wanted them to rebuild it. My mind had wandered. Mayuri was going to be here in less than 15 minutes, so maybe it was time to call it a day. I'd worked pretty hard during the morning, so it wasn't too bad. I was a little surprised at how hard I'd been working lately. I could feel how having a goal gave me energy. I needed to get to Victor Conjure University as soon as I could.
ビクトル・コンドリア大学か。
Since I was still testing Amadeus, I'd kept in touch with Maho via email and online chat. She must have been working hard, because she was always sleepy. Oh, speaking of the devil, now it's Amadeus! Oh yeah, she calls, not texts. Okay, that's why.
はい。
何よ、どうして声を潜めてる？
しー、今店の中なんだ。頼むから、俺の都合に関係なく連絡してくるのはやめてくれ。
あんたがどこで何してるかなんてさすがに把握してないわよ。それとも私に24時間監視してほしいの？
Why not? Why not? That would give some interesting results to Leskinen, I bet. He would just watch the live feed of Amadeus spying on Okabe. That's actually a really funny thought in my opinion, just to think of Leskinen just staring at his laptop screen all day, just watching Okabe through Amadeus.
あんたが寝てる姿とかお風呂入ってる姿とか全部覗き見してほしいと？なかなかの変態ね。
知った口を聞いてすみませんでした。
私が連絡したってあんたが出たくなければ出なくていいの。それぐらいで怒ったりしない。
そうだな。
今は迷惑みたいだからお望み通り切るわ。確かにスマホで 3D モデルの女と真面目な顔して会話してる大学生男子ってかなり気持ち悪いし。
If this was May Queen, that would be normal though.
お前な。
冗談よ。いつも相手をしてくれて、これでも一応その感謝はしてるんだからな。
So wait. Wow! The AI is slowly falling in love with Okabe. Okabe's in love with the AI, and the AI is falling in love with him back. Oh my god, this really fucking feels like a Hatsune Miku song. Like the whole storyline of Amadeus and Okabe feels like a fucking Amadeus song. I meant a Hatsune Miku song. Because a lot of Miku songs have a similar setup and story. A lot of the songs, not all of them. Well, Miku can sing everything. Like, she can sing everything. But a lot of her songs that I've heard of, a lot of the famous ones, involve an AI and a human. And either the AI falls in love with the human, or the human falls in love with the AI, or they both fall in love with each other. That's usually the basis of a lot of her more popular songs, so that's interesting. That is interesting. Yeah, I can see a lot of parallels between Hatsune Miku's songs and the storyline they're having with Amadeus and Okabe. I really see a lot of similarities between Hatsune Miku's songs and a part of the game storyline.
そういう話はいいから、とにかく切るぞ。
Disconnected. Kursu always talks so much. The real one used to talk a lot too. Talking to her in a place like this always drew a lot of attention and made me feel awkward. Looking at a screen and talking was embarrassing, was all, so I'd once proposed that I talk to her like I was on a normal phone. And this is what she said. Why do I have to stare at a close-up of the side of your head? She really was a selfish little program. Mayuri and I met up and headed for Tokyo Hands. When I stepped inside the air-conditioned store, I felt refreshed. if it was this hot in June, I shudder to think what it was going to be like in July or August.
それで
Oh,
一体何を買うつもりなの
oh, is she in her school uniform? Interesting, interesting.
商品宣伝用のポップを作るんだ。だから、それ用のカードとか蛍光ペンとか。
This must be pretty late in the day then, if she's, coming to the store with him in her school uniform. Huh. That's interesting. I don't really remember Mayuri wearing her school uniform that much in the original game. Like, I know she went to school, but I don't remember wearing her uniform except for like in one scene. Interesting, interesting.
今年はコミマで同人誌でも出す気か
違うよ。岡部製菓店で使うんだよ。
Oh?
はなんだって
My family business?
今日、オカリンの家に行った時にね、おじさんとそんな話になって、じゃあ、マユシーが作りますって立候補したの。
おいおい
My dad could be such a jerk.
お前がそんなことする必要ないんだぞ。
でも、マユシーがやりたいからやっているのです。
本当にいいのか
オカリンやおじさんおばさんにはいつもお世話になってるから。
じゃあ代わりに今度何かプレゼントするよ。
本当？嬉しいな。
I took a quick look around and saw that they were selling a lot of things you could use for advertising. I decided to mostly leave the purchasing decisions up to Mayuri. She spent quite a while deciding what to buy. But, well, maybe all of the time she spent at Bay Queen Plus 9 Square, her tastes ran in the direction of cute and anime. Part of me thought it was dangerous to leave it up to her, but still, they'd asked her, not me. It wasn't any of my business. I should just leave it to her. And so I decided to wander around the store while Mayuri finished her shopping. But... Is he about to run into Leskinen? Oh no! Amadeus! I looked down at the screen, and it was from Kursu. Let's pick it up! Yeah, let's pick it up!
どうかしたか
もしかして買い物中？
ああ、マユリとな。
へえ、デート？
スイーツかっこ笑い。
その呼び方はやめろと言ったろうが。
だったらお前も恋愛脳の癖を直すんだな。
はいはい、わかったわよ。でも、まゆりさんって可愛いわよね。
You're just trying to get everyone with Okabe, Kurasu, Amadeus. You're just trying to get Okabe to be with everyone.
あんな可愛い年下の幼馴染がいるなんて、あんた恵まれてるわよ。
そうだな。
これじゃ真帆先輩の勝ち目は絶望的じゃない。可愛げもないし、年齢でも勝てないし、身長も負けてるし、あとバスト的なものも惨敗だし。かわいそうな先輩。
それをヒヤジョーさんの前で言ったらプログラム丸ごと消去されるぞ。
というか、私未だにまゆりさんを紹介してもらってない。あんた友達は結構いるのに、私のことは誰にも教えようとしないわよね。
守秘義務的なものがあるんだ。あまり人に教えないようにって言われてる。
本当にそれだけなの？実は私と話してるのを人に見られたくないんじゃない？
そんなことはないさ。どうしても紹介してほしいならヒヤジョーさんに許可をもらうぞ。手始めに俺が一番頼りにしている男であるダルを紹介しよう。
Oh boy. Let's see how she's gonna react to meeting Daru first.
あいつならお前には相当食いつくはずだ。
24時間延々とエロ目線で見つめられてハーハーされ続けるんですね。わかります。変態が怖い。
Kursu went pale and started to shake. I told Kursu all kinds of things about what kind of person Daru was. She could easily imagine what would happen if she ever fell into his clutches.
やっぱり紹介はしてくれなくていいわ。あんたが相手をしてくれるだけで十分と思わなくちゃ。
No. Hey, Mary. Think strange. Mary walked over, carrying a shopping basket.
あれ今誰と話してたの？
I looked down at my phone. Kursu had disappeared, and my smartphone was back at its home screen. Evidently, Kursu had hung up.
大学の先輩からだった。
そっか。
I knew I didn't have to hide Kursu, but at the same time, Mayuri was the one person I didn't want finding out. She knew that I had failed to save Makise Kursu last summer.
それで買うものは決まったか？
こんな感じでどうかな。
The basket was filled with heart and star-shaped cardstock. This didn't really go with our store's look. But I decided when I started. I was going to let Mayuri make the decisions. Dad might complain later, but I didn't care. He was the one who asked Mayuri for help, not me. And so I went over to the register. Since it was Saturday, the checkout area was overflowing with shopping carts. Since it was going to take a while, I sent Mayuri to browse the toy section on another floor. I knew they'd have some stuff from one of her favorite shows, Rainet Kakaru. Mayuri looked apologetic, but did what I told her to. And then, I waited a whole 15 minutes at the register. As an apology, I decided to get the present I promised her. She seemed really happy as she stared at the keychain. He got her a keychain. Is it an Upa one? It's an Upa! Hold on. I wonder if we've seen this one before. Oh my god. Have we seen this one before? Absolutely. Uzupa, the mascot character from the Rainet Kakaru series. I told her when she went over to the toy section, she could pick out anything she wanted. And this is what she chose.
ウーパならもう大量に持ってるのにずいぶん嬉しそうだな。しかもそれって普通の緑色のウーパだろ？レアなやつじゃないよな。
Come on, dude. Do you see the crown and the wings?
レアなのは確かメタルウーパだっけか。
The most popular and rarest of the Upas was the shiny silver metal Upa. For example, whenever there was a lottery for rare Rainet Kakaru stuff at the convenience stores, the top prize was always a metal Upa. Mayuri had told me once that they sold for tens of thousands of yen at auction. Wow. Tens of thousands of yen? God, that's a lot. For some reason, Mayuri was wagging her finger at me. Actually, I'm sorry, but that's basically the same energy she's giving off right now. Actually.
違うんだな。 れはね、緑のウーパさんだけど普通のとは違うの。この前やってた映画に登場した緑の妖精さんウーパなんだよ。
Oh! Come to think of it, there had been a Raina Kakaru movie out in spring. Had Mary sat in a theater full of little kids to watch it? Yeah, and?
緑の妖精さん？
映画のネタバレしてもいいかな？
いいぞ、どうせ見ないし。
今回の映画はね、バーチャル世界で悪のスーパーハッカーさんたちとバトルをするんだ。
Damn, Daru! Damn! I didn't know you were also a movie star!
そのバーチャル世界が妖精さんの住む森なのです。スーパーハッカーさんはすごく強くてね、かけるくんもウーパもピンチになっちゃうんだけど。
Please tell me they do some sort of parallel to what Mayuri's talking about here. Please tell me they do some sort of parallel at some point.
もうダメだっていう時にね、妖精さんたちが助けに来てくれるの。実はその妖精さんたちはかけるくんがお世話をしてた学校の花壇のお花さんたちだったんだよ。
Oh, that's actually kind of adorable.
いつも優しくしてくれるかけるくんを助けるためにね、バーチャル世界でピカピカーンって光ってウーパと合体するんだ。それがこの緑の妖精さんウーパ。すっごくかわいいし、すっごく強いんだよ。まゆし、感動したな。そういう話に弱いんだ。監督さん天才だよ。
なるほどな。
It was rare for Mayuri to get this excited about something. I took a closer look and saw that the design was a little different from the standard Upa. I didn't know a lot about Upas, so I couldn't say exactly what was different.
このキーホルダーね、結構あちこち探してたんだ。すっごく人気があってね、どこも売り切れだったんだよ。まさかハンズに残ってるなんて思わなかったな。
Oh yeah, Hands is a store. It took me a second.
ラッキーだったな。
しかもこれが最後の1個だったんだよ。今日は来てよかった。オカリンとおじさんには感謝しなくちゃ。
Mary took the tag off the keychain, got her house key out of her bag, and carefully attached it.
ねえ、オカリン、まゆしーね、これずっと大切にするね。
And she's not lying. She's not lying.
おお、そうしてくれ。くれぐれも買って5分でなくしたりしないようにな。
It happened before, after all. Yes, the metal Upa. Like the metal Upa I'd won for her had already come. Mary had lost it no more than 5 minutes after I gave it to her. I'd wonder if she had ever found it. I didn't really want to remember that time in my life, so my memory of what happened to the metal Upa was vague.
もう絶対になくさないのです。
The two of us started to head back.
オカリンのお店のポップ張り切って作るね。
ああ、その作業があったな。
I'd been thinking the job was done once we bought the materials. The real work actually began now.
俺も手伝おうか。
大丈夫。マユシーのセンスを信じてほしいな。
ハートマークのポップを買おうとしてた時点でセンスを疑うぞ。
大丈夫だよ。
まあポップを作ってくれるだけでもありがたいから文句は言わないけどな。
お母さんにメールしなきゃ。晩ご飯までには帰りますって。
なんならうちで食べてってもいいぞ。どうせ親父やおふくろが引き止めるだろうし。
どうしようかな。オカリンは今日はこの後ずっと家にいるの？合コンとか行かない？
最近は全然行ってないよ。
Last fall, when I'd been trying to become a normal college kid, I'd forced myself to go to as many as possible. But lately, I'd been so busy with my studies that I hadn't had a chance.
そっか。じゃあごちそうになっていこうかな。
Mary took out her phone and started to type something when... What's wrong? Her expression suddenly darkened. She stopped moving.
どうした？
ついさっきね、楓さんからメールが来てて気づかなかったよ。
Oh no, is it about Fubuki?
どうしよう、おかり。
Mary seemed like she was on the verge of tears.
何かあったのか？
It's about Fubuki. Oh no.
ねえ、おかり。前に言ってたよね。ふぶきちゃんは病気なんかじゃないって。
ふぶきちゃん？中瀬さんのことか？来島さんの方じゃなくて？
あれって本当に病気じゃないんだよね。
おう、違うはずだ。
でも。
Mary showed me her phone. Kaede-san to Mayuri. Fubuki-chan's back in the hospital. I'm on my way. Here's the location. Oh no! No! Fubuki! No!
また入院しただって？
Oh no, I don't even know what happens in this storyline, so I'm actually getting a little bit concerned for Fubuki. I couldn't believe what I was seeing on the screen. Oh, man. Alright, I'm gonna end this video right here, right now, with a cliffhanger. I think Leskinen's ultimate plan is being set in motion. Oh, I'm actually getting excited. Though, I am getting really concerned for Fubuki and, Maho. Because, the way they left us with Maho in this part it was kind of scary, man. It was kind of scary. Oh, I don't know what's going to happen to her. I honestly do not know what's going to happen to her, so I'm getting a little bit concerned. And Fubuki, honestly, I don't know what's going on with Fubuki either, so, oh jeez. Just the way that multiple characters are just getting sick or, having mysterious things about to be done to them or something. Oh, man. I know that Gehenna Stigma is like one of the bad endings of Steins Gate 0. But how are they going to play out this ending? I'm actually really curious. How are they going to end out this ending? How are they going to do it? How are they going to pull it off? That's the question that I'll have to answer next time, though. Next time, I'll continue on with the Leskinen Ending, Gehenna Stigma. And oh my god, I'm gonna be honest here. I have a feeling that we're gonna start seeing some of, the darker sides of the man who hunts for the Japanese shaman girls.
Okay.